New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick of Time show here, giving you that Knicks talk just in Knick of Time. And it's time to talk about a Knicks loss because the Knicks lose to the Dallas Mavericks 114 to 129. And we're going to talk about it because it was an ugly loss in Dallas. Shout out to my guy Lee, who took his pops to the Dallas game for his birthday. I think he got damn near front row seats. Lee, I'm not going to hold you, Lee. You might be bad luck, buddy. Every time you go into the Dallas game, they lost. We might have to change things up. Happy birthday to your pops, though. For sure. Your good son for getting him those seats, all right? But we're going to talk about the game. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce you to my guy. Shout out to Sean Shepard, who's been a strength and conditioning coach for 4 different universities, Final Four, Big Ten, and Big East championship winner, and a Knicks fan since 1977. What's going on, Big Sean Shepard?
Tough night tonight, but I'm glad I'm here commiserating with you, bro.
For sure. And for you guys who are in the chat, shout out to Knicks Nation, shout out to Jay Cruz, shout out to Fish Alexander. I'm just letting you know the Discord is open. If you have grievances, if you want to talk smack, if you want to talk live with us, all you gotta do is hit that Discord. Very simple process. The link is pinned to the top of that YouTube channel, YouTube chat, and you can just enter the Discord there and speak to us live. All right. So let's get to that. And also, hold on a second. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't go live on TikTok. Hold on a second. My bad. Now that we doing TikTok, I have to remember to do multiple things that I didn't have to do before. It's gonna take a while to get used to those things. You know what I mean? So shout out to my TikTok channel as well. All right, hold on a second. Let's see.
I can see you.
You can see me, but the TikTok feed isn't quite functioning.
Let me check. I'll check.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see the TikTok feed functioning. I think I have to, let's see.
Hang on, let me look.
Oh, I see what's happening. I know what's happening.
It says you're live, but you popped up. It's just the OBS screen. Did I see?
Yeah, I see that. Okay, I see what's going on. Got it. Hold on. Boom. All right. Now we should be good on
Let me check.
YouTube and TikTok as well. All right. Let's get to it, guys. But like I said before, if you guys have any grievances and you want to talk to us, the Discord chat is open. You will be able to talk to us live on the Discord chat. So definitely come through for that. Okay, cool. Now let's get to it, man. Today versus the Dallas Mavericks, I was definitely looking forward to playing this type of team because the Knicks, you know, we've been on a roll. We've been on a roll offensively. I think we're like number 2 offense in the league, right behind the Cavaliers, at least before this game. We were clicking on all cylinders, and I wanted to test our merit against a good defensive team, and the Dallas Mavericks are just that. Today, I didn't feel like we really got on track. It took us a second to get the motor going, and it's been a thing that's been happening with this team against these type of teams. It's like whenever we play a team that likes to switch, we struggle. It forces us into kind of match hunting, and we kind of get bogged down. Early in the year, Jalen Brunson, his shot wasn't there, so he wasn't able to take advantage of those mismatches. Today, he was able to, but nobody else was really able to help him until maybe like the 4th quarter. So I was kind of disappointed in how we responded to the switching defense today. But we started to get a little bit more comfortable as the game goes on. So maybe there's some hope for the next game, but that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on for the entire season. How do we adjust to switching defenses? That's probably the biggest things I took away, plus many more. But I want to get your thoughts on the game too.
Where do I start, Jay Ellis? It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
That's what today's game was. I just want to start out with what I shared with you before we went live. On this road trip, the Knicks have given up 129, 118, 121, and 122 points. They're 2-2 on this road trip, and one of those losses was to a 3-win team.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think about the fact that win against the Nuggets and that win against the Suns, you had a lot of the fan base going crazy. We back up. We were never back. And I say that because the same thing keeps happening over and over again. There is no middle ground with this team. We're either prolific offensively or we trash offensively. We're either hitting all of our shots or we're hitting none of our shots. There is no in between. And while we're doing that, we're not playing defense. So those are my overall thoughts, but it's like the big three of Kyrie, Grimes, and Dinwiddie, who came off the bench, was no match for our team. And this was a Mavs team missing Luka and Klay Thompson. And we still got washed. So I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but I need people to just look at the Knicks realistically. Until we change our personnel that we have right now and utilize our personnel differently, and or until we get defensive reinforcements, this is your Knicks. These are the New York Knicks, up and down. And all of our box scores look the same in our wins, and they all look the same in our losses. In our losses, we shoot poorly, we play poor defense, we get out rebounded. And to your point, Jay Ellis, it's typically against a team that is switching on defense and they're fast paced. That's it. I'm chapped.
Yeah.
Not feeling good tonight.
Yeah. I get you. You know what? I will say this. Defensively, you're absolutely right. We can't really seem to find a groove. It's a different problem to me than what was happening in Utah. To me, when we played Utah, there was an effort problem.
Okay.
Today, I feel like it was an execution problem. Like I didn't see like, oh, I just don't feel like rotating. Oh, I just don't feel like closing out. I just feel like our scheme might not be well. Not to say that they didn't blow any rotations, because that's going to happen during a full fourth quarter games. But I'm just talking about overall as a whole. I felt like from the tip, they were defensively at least intentional. You know what I'm saying? They tried, but they just were getting beat. Or the guard to guard communication hasn't been there all game. Like I feel like they get lost on rotation sometimes, where people are just beating off the dribble. Mikal just got beat off the dribble cleanly a couple of times by Dinwiddie.
He also played some good defense at times. I'm with you. I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
I'm not in the camp. Listen, and you know what? Shout out to Lee, because Lee's not here. There is a whole camp of the entire defense falling apart is Mikal Bridges' fault. And when I watched our show with Lee, the game before, he was in here, Sean, I wish I would have pushed back on that more, because the whole defense is not resting on Mikal Bridges' shoulders. It's a team defensive lapses. So but go ahead, Sean. I just wanted to
it is. Listen, my first quarter notes, I have the Knicks allowing penetration, period. The Knicks, not just Mikal Bridges. The Knicks were allowing penetration.
Exactly.
Dallas was in the paint all night. And if it wasn't Mikal letting his man get past him, it was Hart letting his man get past him, it was Brunson letting his man get past him. It was a collective team effort. And so I'll say it again. When you look at our box scores from our wins and our losses, they all look similar. And when we give up 129, 118, 122, that ain't Mikal Bridges. That's the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad you said that, because I feel like people, yes, there's screens that we're not getting around, but I feel like the pick and roll defense being used as an excuse for why the Knicks defense is bad has kind of just been overused. It's not just the pick and roll defense. It's like there's a lot of fires happening at one time, from game to game, from play to play.
I look at things from a psychological standpoint too, man, because I'll say this, and I wrote this in the first quarter. I said, when this team is missing shots early, it seems like it's a bad omen for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
When we're hitting shots like we did against Denver and everything is beautiful except for Bridges last game, everybody's hitting their shots. Everybody's playing in accord with one another on offense, and it feeds our defensive effort. And I'm not going to disagree with you when you talk about the defensive effort, but I will say this. When it came to loose balls and 50-50 balls, that energy, Dallas had it, we didn't. And we tend to not match another team's energy when we lose. And when we're losing that energy battle, it typically is right in line with us not making shots. And your psychological approach on defense and energy and playing with energy and going after loose balls and diving on the floor, that can't be connected solely to how well you're playing on offense. That needs to travel with you every game. And that's what we had last year that we don't have. We don't have that this year right now. Not with this current group of players.
Yeah, like the biggest difference I have between last year and this year is the heart. I will keep saying I'm still rooting for this team. There's a chance this team can turn around. I'm hoping so. If we get some personnel back, if we start to get some things clicking on defense. But last year's teams is still, to me, my favorite Knicks team to date until this team gets together. Until this team gets together, and I'm talking as a guy who wasn't around during the 70s when we won a championship. I was there for the 90s Knicks. You know what I'm saying? So I like the grit that we showed. And I think the most fun thing I saw about last year's team is no matter how far we were out of the game, it never really felt like we were out of the game. I think that's my favorite thing. And I haven't felt it from this team this year.
But there's a reason for that, man. Our defense traveled with us last year. This year, as currently constructed, we're not built to come back. I feel like we are the NBA's biggest front runners of a team. If we have a lead, great. But if we don't have a lead, in order to make a comeback, you not only have to score, but you have to stop the other team from scoring to come back.
Yeah.
And I never got a sense during any point in time during this game that we were going to be able to string together enough stops in order to make a comeback. Yeah, we might score 5 or 6 times down the court, but you can't cut the lead to, the lowest we got the lead to in the second half was 12.
Yep.
And then you blink and it's up to 17 because we could not put together stops.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw starting in the first quarter. When we got to the 5:11 marker in the first quarter, there was a timeout. And I was hoping that Tibbs was going to bring in Campaign and Sims, and he did. And we immediately still gave up 5 straight points.
Yeah,
we just didn't have it. We just didn't have it from the beginning.
That's what I'm saying too. Is like they bought in Campaign, they bought in Sims, they bought in Miles McBride. I'm like, all right, we're going to get some defense. Those are my guys. Campaign and Miles McBride, they're going to bring it to them. They was getting cooked too. You know what I'm saying? They was getting cooked too. Everybody was getting cooked. So it was just one of those nights where it's just like, you just toss your hat. You just toss your hat and hope that they get it together. And, Campaign tried his best at the end to kind of try to make it interesting and with his defensive stops, but it just never got there.
No, we scored a season low 15 points right after having a prolific game the game before.
And
We finished tonight with 20 assists after totaling uh, a Knicks history team high 45 assists.
we got to figure out a way to attack these switching defenses more effectively. And unfortunately, it forces you not to move as much, but we were still moving. It's just, we weren't able to take care of mismatches. Like Mikal Bridges, he started off isoing on Kyrie Irving. He got a bucket here. 9 times out of 10, you like that matchup for Mikal Bridges. He wasn't getting that bucket.
No, he wasn't producing the way you thought he was going to produce in the mid-range because they were getting him the ball on the mismatches. And we had the look we wanted, and tonight was not his mid-range night.
OG Anunoby, the guy who's been flourishing right under the basket. I don't know what happened to his legs, but his legs look like they buckled at least 4 or 5 times in the first half when posting a smaller guy on him. And I know this guy works out. I know he don't skip leg day. I see how big this man is. And I'm just watching this like, what is happening? Is he not sturdy enough? He does not grounded. I didn't understand why he was just not able to get his footing.
I think that from the jump ball, when I look at my notes, the Knicks were not dialed in mentally from the very beginning of the game, because I'm looking at my notes. I saw a lack of communication from Towns' part. I saw a shot clock violation by OG because he was unaware of what he wasn't aware of what the shot clock situation was. I got poor man-to-man D by Towns. It was up and down the roster in terms of what we were seeing from the very first quarter. And when you look at what OG did the game before, I was wondering if he was going to go scoreless tonight. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, it seemed like he calmed down a little bit in the second half and was able to gather himself and start to score for sure. But like OG, at this point, and the announcer said it best, OG has to realize now that he is going to be on people's scouting report. Now that you're dropping 40 points a game, you're having career high season for the Knicks offensively, you're going to be on the scouting report. So it might be a little bit tougher for OG to score some buckets now that he's going to be zeroed in, especially for teams who have the personnel to do it. So he's going to have to be aware of that for sure.
There's a lot of truth to that, but at the end of the day, if you have a wide open shot, I mean, he's been making those, and it just wasn't his night tonight. He turned into Mikal Bridges tonight, and Mikal Bridges kind of turned into OG.
Yeah, opposite day. 40%
a little bit.
Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, man, I'm saying, and he had a very nice above the break 3 make. I think he had a couple of those tonight. But if there was a bright spot, I think that the couple of threes that Mikal made in the Denver game, at the end of the Denver game, carried over into tonight, and we saw somebody who is a little bit closer to the player that we thought that we were getting, and that he hasn't been thus far. But that's like the only bright spot for me. That and some of the things that Sims did protecting the rim tonight.
Yeah, Sims is an animal at the rim, man. People are underrating Sims so much.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the second quarter, and one of my main notes at the beginning of the second quarter is that the Knicks were featuring Bridges in the post due to mismatches, and he wasn't hitting his shots. Towns started getting to the free throw line. Our defense began to give up more wide open threes. We had missed shots in the paint and at the rim. We just weren't making shots.
Yeah.
Again, it was Groundhog Day. When we lost to Utah, we just weren't making shots. When we miss shots, we miss all of our shots. We miss layups. We miss mid-ranges. We miss threes. We miss bunnies. We miss everything. I mean, it's almost comical. We were shooting 6 for 27 at that point in the second quarter.
Yeah, it reminds me of why I mean, and then Jalen Brunson took over. It reminds me of why Jalen Brunson takes over sometimes, because he's like, why he doesn't pass the ball sometimes, because now he's just like, you know what, I just need to take over because everybody's missing shots. And I feel like when he started to be more aggressive, we started to hang around the 20-point mark because he realized, holy crap, everybody's missing shots. I gotta go back to ISO Brunson mode. And he had 37 points. He's probably the only person who really shot well statistically today, outside of maybe Mikal Bridges, who didn't even shoot well really either, but just better than he has been lately. Better for three for sure.
Towns wasn't bad tonight, and you know, I've noticed with a couple of teams, they take away that top of the key three from Towns. He only shot four threes tonight, and he shot 50%.
They were switching. They were switching on that. Yeah. So it eliminates that clean look from three.
Yeah. So, you know, by the end of the second quarter, we had shot 26% from the field, 2 of 14 from three. That's 12%. And meanwhile, the Mavs have shot 9 of 18 from three. And the only Knick, of all people, the only Knick to hit a three in the entire first half was Bridges.
Opposite day, man.
Yeah.
That's opposite day for sure. For sure.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was a tough first half to watch. And based on what we've seen so far, I didn't have a whole lot of hope that we were going to be able to come back because of our defense. Not because I didn't think that we were going to score. I think we scored 76 second half points. But we still allowed the Mavs to score 69.
Yeah.
You know, so
I don't know. Like, we're about that at that 20 game mark. I know we're missing personnel, but I still feel
so were
like
they. So were they.
Yes, so were they for sure. So I know people always go to, you know, oh, Precious Achiuwa when he gets back. Da, da, da. I still feel like, considering the fact that this is our starting five, and this seems like what we want to lean into for our starting five, I think it might be time to adjust the defensive scheme.
Meaning what?
More switching.
I thought we switched plenty enough tonight. I didn't see as much fighting over screens as I saw against Denver 2 nights ago. To be honest with you, I just think that when we don't have it defensively, it seems like it's a plague. It plagues the entire team. Whether we're switching or not, whether you got your man in front of you and it's just you and your man in front of you, mano a mano, and you just not getting it done. And then there's the Kyrie factor. You can play perfect defense on Kyrie and he's still getting it.
It is what it is. I mean, I did see OG just get posted by Lively too. I mean, I saw a bunch of stuff too. I saw a bunch of stuff I thought I wasn't going to see today.
Hey, I'll say it again. We had our starting five intact tonight. They were missing an MVP player in Luka Doncic and Klay Thompson in their starting five. And we still got worked. And it needs to be a sobering reality for us as fans, in that, as currently constructed, this is who we are. Until we get reinforcements, or to your point, tinker with the starting lineup, play our bench a little bit more, maybe try Cat at the 4 and one of our bigs at the 5 for 5 seconds. Can I see it for 5 seconds? Can I see it for 5 minutes? We haven't seen it all year. And it might be Tibbs' stubbornness. Like, I want to see this for 20 games and then I'll do something. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what's happening to us defensively. You can't make comebacks if you're not playing defense.
Yeah, we still have a winning record. I think that's the only thing not having everybody hit the panic button right now is technically we have a winning record. Salute to the chat though. Salute to the chat real quick.
What's up with our people? Who's tapped in tonight?
Yeah, let's talk to the chat real quick. And TikTok, I don't know who's rocking on TikTok. I see people coming in and out. In TikTok.
That's TikTok. That's TikTok for you.
Yeah. Shout out to Martini Govia. Shout out to Luis Vargas at Scorpion. TikTok, you're involved too. If you want to ask a question or have a comment, we'll read it live on air. All right. Shout out to you guys as well. But let's get to YouTube. First of all, YouTube, the Discord is open. I know I see you, Timmy. So Timmy, I'm just letting you know that Lee is not here. He's out with his father on his birthday. He was at the Dallas game. So blame him for the loss because we've lost every time Lee has gone to the Dallas game. I know you had smoke for Lee, but the Discord is open. Maybe you want to pretend he's still here. All right. The Discord is open. Yes, the Discord is open. All right. But shout out to the people in chat. I don't know if you saw any. Did you see any comments that stuck out to you? I'm gonna go through this right now.
I can't see the chat. Talk to me how I could even tap into it. Oh, go to YouTube.
Yeah,
okay.
Just go to YouTube. Just make sure it's muted so you don't get any echoes.
Okay, hang on. Let me do this.
Yeah. Knicks Nation said Bridges, Towns, and Brunson all scored. Hart was okay. OG was bad. 0 from 8 from 3. 0 from 8 from 3. 3 of 15 from the field. I guess the good news for me is I don't expect OG to be that bad for a season. I think that's an anomaly game for OG.
Yeah, it was an outlier. We watched OG have the best game of his career, followed by probably the worst game of his career. I don't think that that's a stretch to think that this was OG's worst game as a professional. It was certainly his worst game as a Knick by far. But I see folks in the chat. I see let me see. I see Knicks Nation TV, Grimes dropped 21, Dinwiddie dropped 21. I said at the beginning, I said the Mavs big three of Kyrie, Grimes, and Dinwiddie, who's a bench player, outplayed our big three. And JLS, let's talk about this real quick. The Knicks, from an offensive production standpoint, have the worst bench in the league. Dinwiddie almost doubled up our bench production tonight by himself. He scored 21. We scored 12 as a bench. And that's problematic. I don't know what we do about that other than we're going 8 deep. We have a playoff rotation from a number standpoint of 8 in November.
Well, here, the thing is, there's no big trade to make. Our big trades are the people that are coming back soon. Also, you got to remember, we signed Matt Ryan, who's been absolutely useless for the time he's played here. But Landry Shamet is still trying to make his comeback here. I felt like the combination of Shamet with Payne and McBride in preseason anyway looked really good. So I actually think Shamet could make a difference for our bench for sure. He gives us the movement 3-point shooting that we've been really missing.
If we are depending on Landry Shamet to help come save us, our season is over already.
I'm talking about the bench.
I got you. I'm not even thinking about Landry Shamet. He is not even a thought. I mean, doesn't he have a dislocated shoulder?
Yeah, dislocated shoulder.
All right. So I'm not expecting him to come back. I'm honestly not expecting him to come back this year. I'm talking about the people that we have on our bench that are active right now. Dadier got no minutes tonight. We know Precious is coming back soon. Whenever Mitch comes back, those two I'm thinking about. But how do we better utilize the players that we have on our team right now, aside from getting DNPs? That's all I'm saying. I gotta go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. I was watching the putback Ian Begley the other day, and he's under the belief that Shamet will be coming back. I'm not saying Shamet is some big savior. I'm just saying that he can give us some scoring off the bench. That's pretty much been his career. He's been a career like 40% 3-point shooter. He will help us off the bench for sure. Not be the bench savior, but he'll have that. He'll give us something off the bench. Going 8 deep at this point, I would. It's going to be great for McComb to come back. I mean, I would like Tibbs to play McComb more. I'm kind of baffled he hasn't got any minutes since that little short stint where he played great defense on what's the kid? on Utah, who always kills us.
Take your pick.
Colin Sexton. He played really good defense on Colin Sexton for a good 5 minutes and then never saw the court again. I would like to.
Two great possessions, one-on-one possessions against Sexton.
Right. And the thing is, a lot of the reason why I felt like Dallas beat us today was because the athlete. I don't think it was always an effort thing. I think they had like a slight athletic advantage over us. So I feel like somebody like McComb, who's kind of long and agile and young, I think he would have been able to kind of match that a little bit.
Yeah.
So I would have really liked to see him play a little bit more today and not just go 8 deep for sure. Yeah.
Hey, I want to ask the chat how they feel about that second quarter goaltend that wasn't a goaltend. Well, it actually was a goaltend, but the refs did not score it as a goaltend. And I just want to know, why does the league allow for reviews of shots that are either 2-point or 3-point shots, or whether somebody was standing out of bounds when they took a shot? They'll take points off the board or add points on a shot like that, but they won't go and review that was a clear goaltend. The ball hit the backboard first. Why can't they review that and reward the Knicks with 2 more points? I'm petty.
Yeah, nah, you're right. You're right.
The final score should have been 129 to 116.
You're right.
I want my 2 points. I don't understand why they don't make that review. I don't understand why they don't make that review.
That should have been reviewed. I was expecting those points to come back at some point once the clock stopped and the game went on. We should have definitely had those 2, but that was a clear goaltending on the Dallas Mavericks. I don't understand what happened there.
I'm going to look into it. It makes me curious. I want to look at the review rules because I don't understand why that's not reviewable and you award somebody the 2 points. That was a clear violation. And you don't review that, but it seems like you review anything else when it comes to shooting.
And thank you. Shout out to JT Riddick, because I was at the Nets game. Even though we won that game, I'm still pissed that they reviewed an out of bounds play versus the Nets, and they spent the whole 20 minutes looking at the finger of the Nets player hitting the ball out of bounds, come back and then say, you know what? OG Anunoby actually fouled the guy 10 seconds before that happened, and that's his 6th foul, and we're kicking him out. I was like, wait, what is happening right now? How is that even reviewable?
It's wild.
And the funny part is that had nothing to do with the out of bounds. Like, it wasn't even like some egregious foul. Like, it had nothing to do with the ball going out of bounds. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening with the refs this year, man.
Yeah. I just when I look at the game, the only time we were able to cut into Dallas at all was during Kyrie's time on the bench. And we would make a run and then give up a run. It was like we were taking 2 steps back and 1 step forward all night long. We made a run in the third quarter that got pushed back in our face to where we were down by 19 heading into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Grimes killed us. PJ Washington hit timely buckets.
It was just
Dinwiddie hit timely buckets. We couldn't
stop anybody. It was like, all right, how many times is Dinwiddie just gonna go one-on-one and beat us off the dribble? Then it was like, oh, you know what? We're just gonna involve Cat and Brunson in pick and roll and kill that thing to death too. But like, it just felt like there was just different ways for them to exploit our defense, and we don't have like one solid defensive thing happening. At least this game, like usually, at least OG would affect the game defensively. I felt like that was touch and go. I don't know. It was a lot wrong today, man. I'm ready to throw this game in the trash.
Yeah, I just felt like you know how Clyde says typically toward the end of a game when you're trying to make a comeback, and he says the Knicks can ill afford to trade baskets now.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that in the second quarter.
That's a fact.
I heard Clyde's voice saying those words in the second quarter. We can ill afford to trade baskets if we want to get back in this game.
That's a fact. we couldn't string 4 or 5 stops together to save our lives. It was like we get like a little mini run, and then we're going to run right back, and it was just like, ugh. It was just.
Let me ask you what you think about this comment that Jason Kidd made before the game. And I want you to keep in mind that he made this comment before the game started, knowing that Luka and Clay were not going to play. And this comment was, if we play fast, I expect to win. If we play fast, we'll win. And for me, I feel like that means the word is out on the Knicks.
Yeah, transition defense is trash. That's pretty much what he said.
Across the league. The word is out. If we play fast, we'll win. Without our best player, arguably, is Luka or Kyrie better? We'll win if we play fast without Luka and without Clay.
I mean, those guys are the slowest guys on the team too. So
almost no respect for almost right. Almost no respect for our team.
We don't play good defense, man. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Our defense sucks, man. It just does. We've had stints when it's been good, but it hasn't been consistent. Like, the next step for me to see improvement here is to have like a 10-game stretch where I can say, yes, the defense has been solid. Like, I think that's what I need to see for me to be like, all right, we're taking a step in the right direction, because it's been so inconsistent. I need to see like a stretch where it's like, all right, we've turning a quarter. The
stretch that you've seen over the last 4 games is 129, 118, 121, and 122 points given up. That's the stretch that you've seen. That's what I know.
That's not the stretch I want to see. No. I mean, like yesterday, we played good enough defense where we didn't have to play defense the whole time. Like, we was like, all right, we're up 20. We can play defense when we need to pack it down to stop a run. But I'm not expecting last year's defensive acumen from this team. I'm just not.
Not right now. Not right now. I have hope. I have hope when reinforcements arrive in the form of size, switchability when it comes to Precious, rim protection, shot blocking when it comes to Mitch. You know, we don't block shots either. It helps. It helps to start a fast break if you block shots. We don't do that. So I'm not totally out on this season in terms of us ratcheting up our defense and starting to keep teams like in the low 100s like we used to. Like, seems like eons ago. So I'm not out on that. I just think as currently constructed and the way we're utilizing our personnel that is healthy, this is who we are. This is who we are.
Mitch was playing 20 minutes a game last season.
It helped. You know?
Is he going to play 20 minutes a game this season for that to happen? I don't know.
I think that the split of time. Well, I don't. You know, with Tibbs, I have no idea what he's going to do, because it's not just about Mitch. It's also going to be about Precious.
Right.
I have no idea how he's going to split up the minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Because that means Josh Hart. You're looking at Josh Hart or McCall. Really, you just traded for McCall, so you don't foreseeably see McCall sitting. But
the way he's been playing up to this point, I don't think that there's any Knicks fans that would be disappointed if he got less time in favor of more defense, more pace, because we've blocked shots, because we've caused a turnover. I wouldn't have a problem with that right now. I mean, and that's me not paying attention to what we gave up to get him. But right now, he'd be the person whose minutes would be eaten into.
I just feel like you got to make that work. I don't know, like, we gave up so much. We gotta freaking beat that drum till it dies. We gotta figure out a way for that joint to work. Especially if you're playing this. Like, we brought him here so we can compete against the Celtics.
Right.
And if he's coming off the bench, that's not what we want. to compete against the top teams.
I ain't say all that. I didn't say all that, man.
You're saying
Don't
cut
say
his
that.
minutes. You're
Don't
saying
say
cut his minutes.
that. I did say cut his
Okay,
minutes.
you just saying cut his minutes. So
I
I'm
didn't
just
say
like,
have him come off the bench because if he's coming off the bench, that is a horrific trade. That's
yeah.
a horrific trade.
Hurt.
Did you have any angina? Did you have any stress before this game? Because when I saw that Grimes was starting, I'm like, we better not let this SOB
Listen,
burn us
man.
tonight, man.
Grimes is a. I know people hated Grimes. He was here. Grimes is a player, dog. Grimes is a player. Listen, I'm not. People were talking so much about Cam. Cam doesn't have any heart, dog. But the one thing else.
You mean Cam Reddish?
Yes, Cam Reddish.
Come on, bro. Don't even go there.
Grimes. Listen, here's the thing. When players are pissed at a team, they always step up and play well. When I can tell when a player has no heart, when they play their former team and they completely shy away and crap the bed. When Grimes is with Detroit and we played him, he played horrible that whole time he was in Detroit. Played us, and then he was playing out of his mind. So I fully expected that Grimes was going to show up today. I did.
I didn't want to see it happen. And what I didn't want to see happen was I didn't want to see him do things tonight that he didn't do on our team that drove me crazy. And the thing that I couldn't stand most about Grimes is you're supposed to be a shooter and you can't make wide open threes. And what did he do tonight? He hit several wide open threes. He hadn't scored 20 points all season.
He had a 4-point play. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen. I told you. That's when Julius Randle played the Lakers. Every time he played the Lakers, he gets up. With there's when freaking Evan Fournier played the damn well, the Celtics earlier, Evan Fournier. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. There's certain teams when you get traded, you get up for. And that he's gonna get up for us every time for the rest of his career. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, I don't like to see that happen, man. And it's not like I'm rooting against him. It just pisses me off to see him hit open shots that he would routinely miss. And that's why we got rid of him.
I don't even care, man. I just don't want to lose.
No, word up. I'm with
I
you.
just don't want to lose. He can hit all the shots he wanted. I just want to hit more shots than him. That's really what it is.
At one point during this game, just like the Jazz game, we missed so many shots. And with all this talk of Elfrid Payton making his return to the league and having 21 assists the other night.
Shout out to Elfrid Payton.
Hey, bro, when we missed shots the way we missed shots tonight and the way we missed shots against the Jazz, it made me think during the game, and this is a twisted thought, if Elfrid Payton were a team instead of a person, that's how we shoot when we're off.
Oh, man.
That's how we shoot when we're off. We are so bad when we are off. It reminds me of Elfrid Payton, the person, the player.
Oh, God.
That's how traumatized I am, bro.
I don't even want to think about the Elfrid Payton days, bro. I've said...
Listen, I don't either, but when we're shooting that poorly, that's who I think of.
Oh, like I spent years. We have Jalen Brothers here now. I've spent years trying to forget Elf on the shelf. I'm happy for him though. I'm happy he's back in the league. He's doing his thing. But I don't listen. We still have a top 3 offense in the league right now. You know what I will say. You know what I will say moving forward, because I feel like we're struggling against switching defenses. And somebody said this in the chat like a while ago, and I thought this might be a good time to bring it up. We lean on Brunson to ISO. What if we start to feature Towns in the post more?
We've done that. We don't do it enough.
Because
we've done that this year.
Right. We have, I feel like when we're hitting these switching defenses and we don't have the advantages that we need, I think Towns in the post might be a wrinkle that we should add, because then it's going to really force them to double, and we should be getting clean kickouts for sure, because the McCall in the post wasn't working. OG was falling in the post.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that OG has rickets. You know what rickets is? Rickets is when you don't have enough vitamin C and you have like very weak appendages. He falls when nobody touches him. And he's done it all year. I didn't see it that much last year, but you know, before we went live tonight, you were talking about OG falling, and I'm like, he might have fallen more tonight than usual, but he falls a lot in general. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know whether it's his balance. I have no idea, but
strange.
it is a little strange, but he didn't have it tonight. I felt like I was afraid that he would have a come back to earth game tonight. Not this bad. I thought that maybe he would score 12 points, shoot maybe 39%. Not this bad, where he wasn't making a difference on defense and offensively. To your point, he was just a complete no-show tonight.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've talked about this game enough. I have nothing else to add to the conversation. We need to get better defensively. I would like to see Cat in the post. The switching, we have not successfully produced offensively against the switching defense yet. Ironically, though, this actually might be the most we scored during the switching defense, 114, even though we lost. So I guess if there's any solace you can look at, you can say that, hey, there's progress. We scored 114 on a switching defense. It might have took us 2 quarters to kind of get going, but maybe we figured something out. Maybe we did figure something out for the next time we play a switching defense. All right, so I will say that could be something. The defense in general, I saw more fight this game than the Utah game. Execution was not there for me in general. That's all I got to say. To wrap,
give me some other silver linings that you saw tonight.
Silver linings were other silver linings. Mikal Bridges, shot 40% from 3. He hit an above the break 3. I think he hit 2 above the break 3s, mind you.
He did.
That's something that we can lean on, especially especially knowing that OG Anunoby will most likely round back out and play better offensively. We still haven't seen a game where Mikal and OG both played well. So I'm waiting to offensively, So I'm waiting to see a game when that happens, and that can unlock a lot for us.
So you saw some signs of life from Mikal. You saw some better execution against switching defenses. And any other silver linings?
Any other silver linings? I don't like. There was more heart on it there. I guess the defense, as bad as we got beat, it didn't seem like we completely gave up like we did in Utah. So like the mind was still there. And I think the first step to playing a productive defense is not giving up. And then hopefully the activity level and the focus will actually help us actually be a better defensive team down the line. But we have to get to that part first, not just folding under pressure and the fight. Which is why, like, even in the end, the Knicks were in with like a minute left, and I'm usually in my mind, I'm like, take them out. But mindset wise, though, because I saw this team kind of quit a few days ago, even though the injury thing is a real thing, I kind of wanted to see them keep fighting, because I feel like that is the identity that was missing from last year to this year. So even though like it was concerned, like, damn, somebody might get injured, I actually want them to have that mentality of keep fighting no matter what. They haven't had that all year.
I'll give you some other silver linings. And to your point, Towns really continued to battle the whole game, and it's yet another game where he had 14 rebounds, 25 points. Here's another silver lining between him and Brunson. They shot 90% from the free throw line. They both went to the free throw line. They both had 10 attempts apiece, which they should get at least 10 attempts apiece per night as much as both of those guys go to the basket. And I'm still complaining. Towns had 10 attempts. He should have had 15 or 16 attempts. That's just my personal opinion of what I was seeing. Brunson got fouled on a couple of plays that weren't called. So they got calls, still not enough. They both shot 90% from the free throw line. Towns is a beast on the defensive glass. But with that silver lining, I also have to point out to the last game that we played where Towns had 16 rebounds. I believe it was 16. And the next highest rebounder on the team had 6. Well, tonight he had 14 rebounds and the next highest rebounder on the team had 5. That has got to change.
Yeah.
And it's not going to change, Jay Ellis, with the personnel that we continue to run out there. It's not going to change.
No, I don't even think when Mitch comes back, I think we'll just be closer. Like, I feel like it'll be more like dead even when Mitch and Precious comes back. I'm not even sure if we'll, I don't know. I don't think we'll be that wave. I don't think it'll be that team that just has a wave of offensive rebounders coming at you anymore. I mean, part of that is, we just shooting better too. So there's less rebounds to be had, but defensive rebounds still.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. I mean, it sounds good in theory that we're getting less offensive rebounds because we're making more shots. When we're trash, like tonight, where were the offensive rebounds? That's just my point.
I mean, good point. Good point.
People say that, and I'm like, that's not true because we've had some really bum nights where we're not making anything. So where are all the offensive rebounds? We don't offensive rebound whether we're winning or we're losing. So I don't subscribe to that theory that we're making more shots. That's why we're getting less rebounds. Where were the offensive rebounds tonight? We had 7 tonight. Cat had 8 by himself the other night. We had 7 as a team tonight.
You know the other part too is like Josh Hart, and I don't even blame Josh Hart because Josh Hart is playing out of his position for most nights.
He's 6'4".
Yeah, he's 6'4". Like teams like tonight, where they're like long switchable teams, it's going to be harder for Josh Hart to get offensive rebounds. And typically when we play teams like that, I think when we play like the team like the Hawks too, where it's long switchable guys, he'll have a low rebounding night like tonight where he had 2 rebounds. And this might be one of those nights where it's like, you know what? This might be one of those nights when Precious gets more minutes and Josh Hart doesn't play 41. This might be one of those nights.
I agree with you. What does the chat think? Does anybody in the chat have any silver linings tonight? Did you take any good things away from what you saw tonight? For me, I got to take the W's wherever I can get them, even though they're small ones. It's not a big W in terms of a win, but we saw signs of life from Mikal Bridges last game where he hit some shots at the end of the game and they were 3-pointers, and that carried over into this game. Let's remember the first 4 points of this game were scored by him. He was the only one to hit a 3-pointer in the first half. And early on, keep in mind, we only scored 15 first quarter points, and he had a good percentage of those.
Yeah. And look, then he had another basket was from Karl Anthony Towns throwing the over the shoulder pass to a cutting Mikal. I think this opportunity to use Cat even more. I think that's the other thing I want to take away from this today. Is like when we have any switching defenses where we're forced to ISO, maybe we should still try to find a way to keep the ball moving, but also get the ball in the guys who have the highest percentage shooting, the highest percentage shooters on our team, which is Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson.
And OG.
And OG. And I mean, and usually OG, it would work. You get a nice small guy on OG, he gets in a dunker spot, it's 2 points. That wasn't working today. So I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Jay Ellis, because Towns has been very effective in the low post, whether it's scoring or dishing, and I haven't seen us resort to that when we're not scoring. I haven't seen us resort to that. I haven't seen us use him as the fulcrum of our offense. It's typically Brunson with the ball in his hands. If we can give the ball to Julius Randle, who is a highly inefficient scorer, and have him go one-on-one and have him make decisions and run the offense through him as much as we did while he was a Knick, even with Jalen Brunson, why can't we do that with somebody who's significantly a more gifted scorer on all three levels, especially in the post when he's 7 feet? I haven't seen any center lock him up. Not yet.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so why aren't we taking advantage of that weapon that we have that we haven't had since number 33 was running up and down the court in a Knicks uniform? We got that guy.
Yeah, I think it's because we have so many weapons. It's like the kid who has like 600 guns and he's like, I got all these guns. I'm gonna use this gun. I'm gonna use this gun. I'm gonna use this. And like we have so many weapons that sometimes we forget the big bazooka that we have too that we can.
Exactly. You're forgetting the Uzi 9mm.
Exactly.
Things that we have, and I don't understand how a coach like Tibbs could forget to use a guy like that.
No, I agree, but it's like I get it, but it's like Mikal Bridges, right? He's posting Kyrie Irving in a place where he's been the top mid-range fall-away baby jumper guy in the league. So it's like, all right, we didn't go to Towns when we get into that ISO.
Well, he missed.
Play call 9 times out of 10? No. Was it black play call today? I guess so, because it didn't work. OG Anunoby's been posting people all season, posting smaller players. It was a turnover every time he posted a small player today.
yeah, pretty much. I see some great comments in the chat. Salute to the chat.
Let's get to him.
Picks for Timmy. We have tape we can learn from. Mikal's offense will get there. You don't have multiple efficient 40-point games in a season, and you just lose your touch indefinitely. I agree. I think that his offense is going to come around. How you feel about that, Jay Ellis?
I've always said that his offense is going to come around. Always felt that he has too long of a career and too much evidence to suggest that this is just who he is. So I fully expect him to come around. The team still shows confidence in him. Tibbs has repeatedly just featured him in the first quarter to try to get him going.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to pay off for us eventually, and we'll be better for it. And we saw a stint of it. We saw a stint of it today. To be clear, like for 40% from three today.
We'll take that every night.
We'll take that every single night. We'll take that. All right, every single night. Didn't really post Kyrie the way we wanted to. We got still got a couple of buckets inside. We'll do that every night. So we're getting there. We're gonna get somewhere. I'm not out on Mikal.
You know what I noticed about his post game? It's fall away jumper or mid-range jumper or bust. I can't remember who he had guarding him on the baseline. And whoever was guarding him, I think it was Kyrie. He was giving him the baseline, and Bridges had his back to Kyrie. He had his back to the basket. So he's facing the sidelines. And I'm like, yo, drop step baseline, drive past him baseline. Wasn't even thinking about doing it. I don't know if it's because he's not equipped, he doesn't have the footwork, but if this is the way we're going to utilize him when he has mismatches, because he's taller than most of the people that wind up guarding him, I think in the offseason he's going to have to work on that, on his footwork in that low post game, because he had opportunities that could have ended in layups. And he resorts to that jump shot. And It wasn't falling tonight, even though he's toward the top of the league in mid-range jumpers or shots in the paint for sure. He had bunnies that he missed tonight.
I wonder if he's looking at. I'm wondering if he's looking at his stats and it's getting to his head now. Because I feel like ever since it's been said out loud that he's leading the league in mid range, it's been slowly starting to drop.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. You brought up in his head. I think Mikal Bridges' problem is in between his ears, and I thought we got rid of a guy like that. I thought we got rid of. You know what I'm saying? I think that he thinks too much. And I was thinking about this while I was walking my dog. Can we see if he is mentally tough right now? That's what it comes down to for him, because I think that you are absolutely right. I think he's in his head from A to Z.
Nah, he definitely is in his head. It's not even. He's in his head. There's no way. There's no way you're shooting the way. There's no way you've been the best in the league in that spot, and then all of a sudden you just nosedive on the West Coast trip. Like nosedive.
Yeah. We got another comment from Knicks Nation TV. I want to know what you think about this, J. Ellis. Tibbs better go 10 deep. We need these guys to come back. I think he was talking about going 10 deep to get back into this game, but how do you feel about the number of players that were not playing, especially this early in the season?
Listen, like I said, I thought Bacone, especially right now, because now McBride is back, Payne is back. This team in particular, they're lengthy, switchable. I think Bacone would be perfect to actually play in this game. So I would like him to be back in this game. But to be honest with you, I don't know if you guys remember. During the preseason, Tibbs ran a campaign with McBride, with Shamet, and Precious. It looked like he was legitimately going 10 deep in preseason. And I actually did a show about it, because he usually goes 9 deep, but I actually did a show. I'm like, yo, the way the minutes are being distributed, it really feels like Tibbs is considering going 10 deep for real.
And then
Shamet got hurt. And then Precious got hurt.
And then the regular season started.
Yeah, but I mean, two of the guys who were in that rotation during the preseason got hurt. So then that went out the window. Now you got to play rookies. You already know the thing with the rookies. And I know you were saying you don't think Shamet is coming back. Ian alluded to Shamet being re-signed by the Knicks. So I don't think that's off the table completely. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shamet came back.
And listen, this is typically a good thing when I'm wrong. So I hope he does come back. And at the same time, we haven't seen him play yet. He looked good in the minutes that he got in preseason, but that was preseason, and we can't sit here and complain about what campaign has given us thus far up to this point. I haven't missed no Landry Shamet the way campaign has been playing. Now I miss Landry Shamet when Deuce was hurt too. And to your point, I think Dadier has earned enough. He's played well enough to earn more minutes than he's getting. And tonight he got 0 minutes. Lee Bonner asked a question in the chat, Jay Ellis, where is the speed on this roster?
The speed is, I mean, we're a slow team, to be honest with you. We're just a shooting team.
Yeah, where was the speed last year? I mean, you're asking where's the speed this year? Were we fast last year?
No, we're always typically the slowest paced team in the league. When your point guard is getting Brunson, you're not going to be a fast team. Like, we're a team that runs off of stops, not so we look faster when we actually stop somebody, and when we didn't stop anybody today, so we look even slower. Like the teams in the rest of the league, they run off of makes and misses. We only run off of misses. So that's half the problem right there. If we're a team that's not stopping nobody.
That's a great point, because I've been lamenting that to you since we started talking. I can't stand the Knicks giving up fast break points after a made basket by us. It's sick.
Yeah,
It makes me sick to my stomach. And it happened again tonight.
it
How do you
did.
go score? Generally, the rule is in order to stop the other team from running, you make baskets. Not with this Knicks team. They run when we make baskets.
Yeah, like there was one play that pissed me off, and I'm not piling on Mikal, but I just know this play just made me mad. Mikal hits an above the break three, and I'm like, holy crap, he hits it above. I'm happy. I'm like,
I
oh
know
yes, he's back. We back, baby. Then directly afterwards, Spencer Dinwiddie
Yes.
goes coast to coast for a
Yes.
layup. I'm just like, this is off a made basket. And I think I think that was Mikal's man, because Mikal looked lost on defense after the made basket, and he was kind of scrambling around, not guarding anybody. And then
I don't understand
goes
that.
for a layup.
You just hit it above the break three. You're near half court. You know what I'm saying? How do you not get back when you're already near half court? And I believe the play you're talking about, I think only 2 Knicks got back on that play.
Yeah. I don't know.
60% of our team didn't even get back on that play.
I know what it is. I feel like we were back. You know what it is? We were back, but we weren't matched up, because there's two parts of transition defense. One, being back on that side of the court. 2,
Right.
guard the man that you're supposed to be guarding. And I think constantly we're doing one out of the 2. We're back, but we're not matched up.
Well, sadly enough, I think we're talking about 2 different plays.
Okay.
That's the problem.
So maybe
That's the problem. We're talking about 2 different plays. You're right, and I'm right.
Well, that's concerning. That happened more than once, but that's why we are where we are. That's oh boy.
Sometimes you just got to laugh to keep from crying, man.
Yeah.
And this was a cry-worthy night from start to finish. Offense, defense, special teams.
Yeah, for real, yo.
It was rough, man.
Salute to the chat though. Thanks you guys for rocking with us, man. I see you. Shout out to Nostalgic Nick, J Cruz, Picks for Timmy. I guess nobody wants to hit the Discord today, which is fine. I see 24 people in the chat today. TikTok is actually going. I mean, they don't stay, but they come. TikTok had 100. I got 184 views in TikTok. Shout out to TikTok.
No. That you're making progress if you got 184 views, and that's the way TikTok is. You know that their data is, if somebody taps in for 2.5 seconds, that's a view to them. You know, you just gotta keep doing this and build up your following on TikTok. If you got 100 and something views, that's good for you not using TikTok, especially the night before a holiday. Salute to you. Good job.
Yeah. So I mean, hey man, thank you TikTok. Next step, we had our first TikTok comment yesterday. Last game. So I'm happy about that. And he actually followed us. So I was mad hyped for our first TikTok comment. But
what was it?
It was like, you would think I remember, right? You would think I remember. I completely forgot. I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. But it happened. It happened, damn it.
Hey, does anybody want to hit up the Discord?
I don't see anybody in the Discord. If you want to hit the Discord, it's right there. It's pinned to the top of the chat if you want to hit the Discord.
Hey, I see who is it? Jay Cruz. He's talking about somebody being a Debbie Downer. Is it Stanley Nowak? Is that the guy that you guys are getting on? Because I see a comment from him. He says, I think we should trade Sims for Gumby. Much more flexible. Is that the Debbie Downer? I hope you all don't think I'm a Debbie Downer.
Oh, man. Yo, get off of Sims, man. I'm Sims defender right now.
Yeah, Sims actually played well tonight.
He's played well on defense a few nights. I'm down for Discord. Yeah, you can jump. You can definitely jump in, Fritz. You already know. You know what, Fritz? Sometimes Fritz has to break the ice and everybody else follows. Shout out to the best.
Come on, Fritz.
Fritz.
Jump on.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Fritz. Fritz, I'm gonna bring you in right now. All right.
Nostalgic Nick. the Knicks don't communicate on defense. You're absolutely right. I can't remember who was talking about the Knicks' lack of communication, but they were saying that Towns in the first quarter, I watched him not communicate, and I think it's going to take him a while to get used to doing that because he's supposed to be the anchor of our defense.
He's not.
He's right. He's supposed to be communicating most back there, and I don't see that.
I think
see
that
a lot.
I feel like this is why Tibbs and Towns fell out the first time they played together, because this is Towns years later in the league for like 10 seasons or whatever. I could imagine how that was as a rookie with Tibbs back in the day when he was even more gangster than he is now. Whew. Yo, Fritz,
Yeah.
you hear me, Fritz?
Salute to you, nostalgic Nick. I appreciate you.
Fritz, you in here? Can you hear me?
Picks for Timmy said the smoke was for me, saying that I'm a Debbie Downer. Hey, I call it like I see it. If there's something positive to say, I'll say it. I'm the one who gave the list of silver linings tonight,
can you hear
man.
me okay?
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
can
yeah,
hear
he's
you.
on.
Yeah, I missed the whole silver lining segment. Maybe we should chop that up. And
Yeah, because it didn't last very long.
yeah, it was a good. Let's see, how long have been? Probably an hour and 10 minutes. The silver lining segment was about 5 minutes or so. I mean, but we lost, so you're not gonna have an hour of silver lining. And
Hey, it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to get washed. I mean, if we lost by 2 points, there could be a lot more silver linings, but we got washed tonight. So, I mean, I think you and I are being fair and balanced Knicks fans by finding silver linings in a game like this. There were a couple, but they weren't.
yeah,
They weren't glaring.
yeah. Shout out to the TikTok viewers, to Julio. Shout out to Wyatt. Shout out to Kaylee Moon. If you have any questions as well, TikTok people on TikTok, I'm gonna read them live on air. So definitely let me know. Fritz, what's going on, Fritz? Fritz, what's going on, Fritz? I heard you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm doing all right. Actually, I can't hear you on.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, it was an ugly game, man.
Can you hear me?
Well,
Fritz, can you hear
I'm
me?
just gonna talk.
Can't hear
I
me.
think just the energy was off. If I just looked at the Knicks, and
Testing.
I've never seen the Knicks before, I would have thought the Knicks were an older team. And the Knicks are in their prime. The Knicks are a pretty young team, and they seem like a step slow and everything. It's just the energy is way off. I think one thing we saw a lot last year was we've seen the Knicks play the passing lanes. They were playing passing lanes on defense. They just wanted to just kind of stay in front of their guy a couple steps, and that just wasn't working. Like it just wasn't. It just was not a good look. I don't know how Tibbs could sit there and not be concerned.
Yeah. You can't hear me. I don't know why they can't hear me. But yeah, they didn't do a good job of keeping people in front of them for sure. The one thing I do feel like they did okay this season, and not to hold you, is I feel like we do play passing lanes this season. I feel like that's the only thing we actually kind of do.
I feel like it comes and goes. You know, I don't think that passing lanes, us getting turnovers from being in the passing lanes is anything consistent. You know, our defense hasn't been consistent, period. And to be honest with you, even though we're going into tonight the second best offense in the league from a net rating, I feel like our offense is consistent. And what I mean by that is it's feast or famine. And we only score in a couple of different ways. We're either hitting threes or you got Brunson now starting to look like Brunson hitting all his mid-range shots. And then and OG has helped a lot when it comes to us scoring. But I just feel like our offense could be more diversified because we talked about this during the last loss, Jay Ellis. When you're not hitting threes, how can you generate offense? And we saw Brunson and Cat get to the free throw line tonight, but 15 first quarter points, you're not hitting threes. How else can you generate points?
I think
off of your defense. We weren't doing that.
I think I will say this, like offensively, I feel like there's only how many teams out there have switching defense? I feel like for the most part, I do feel like that game in Utah is an anomaly when it comes to our offense.
Okay.
However, defensively, we are who we are. I feel like the defense is for sure real. Offensively, though, I feel like we do have an identity except for when we play switching defenses. I think that's just been my theme this whole thing. So like when we're not playing switching defenses, we post up OG, we post up Mikal Bridges, we Jalen Brunson drives and kicks to open Karl Towns for three. It's a lot of, and we do cut too. Like I do feel like our offense is pretty good until we run into this type of defense.
Okay, so what is the solution? Because we're going to keep running into these type of defenses.
That's why works. My solution is lean into Karl Towns and Brunson more. Like that's why I mentioned before. Like maybe we should lean into like the Brunson thing worked, but we don't want to overwork him for a whole game. So maybe we do work Karl Towns more in the post to get us cleaner looks as well. So I feel like maybe that's one thing we can do. Is just
I agree with that.
Work that in.
I agree with that. We got the Uzi,
Exactly.
we got the bazooka. We need to deploy it. We need to use it more often.
Exactly. And hold on a second. For some reason. Okay, I see Timmy is on here.
On the Discord?
Yeah. I feel like my volume is not acting right for some reason. Like I don't see my volume. Because Fritz couldn't hear me when he was in the room, even though I could hear him.
I have another silver lining. I got another silver lining.
What you got, sir?
We watched Mikal Bridges take the ball from the wing, go all the way into the paint, and finish with a layup at the rim. When's the last time we saw that? When is the last time we saw that? We saw that tonight. He has gone, I think, 7 straight games without getting to the free throw line. So there's a balance here, but he went to the brim and he got a layup. There's signs of life, man. There's signs of life, man. We haven't played 20 games yet. We have not played 20 games yet.
That's for sure. All right. Picks. Hold on. Let's fix that visit settings. Hold on.
And while you do that, JLS, I want to ask the chat, what are your overall impressions of Towns? Take the defense out of it for a second. I want to know what your overall impressions of Towns are, because I think, and I've been watching the Knicks since 1977, I think he is the most overall talented center from an offensive standpoint that we've ever had on this team. Ever. I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think of that? Is everybody in this chat old enough to watch Patrick Ewing play from start to finish? But that's what I think about Towns offensively. What do you all think?
Testing. Yeah. It's funny, Lee was saying that before. Lee definitely said that.
We've never had a center that can score in as many ways as he can and do so efficiently. And it's not even close. I mean, Patrick played during an era where centers didn't take threes. So, I mean, that is what it is. But I never saw Pat take left-handed hooks and right-handed hooks. I never saw him do that. I never saw him be ambidextrous like that and start from the top of the key and finish with authority on a consistent basis. The jumper was wet. We know that. That was one of my problems with Pat. The way we were constructed when he was taking 18-foot jumpers and Oakley wasn't getting a rebound. Who was going to rebound? But I digress. I think Cat's the most talented offensive center and versatile that we've ever had on offense. I ain't talking about his defense.
Yeah, and it's like in that day too, the big man wasn't really used to shoot that much. I mean, and that's kind of what made Pat even kind of ahead of his time a little bit, because I feel like later in his career he started to shoot a little bit.
He had to.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you this story, JLS. My freshman year, I don't know if I told you this. I went to Georgetown. I graduated in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So my first year was 1986.
Right.
And there was a year after Patrick's rookie season. So I go into the training room. I play football at Georgetown, but before practice, and I come around the corner into this side room in the training room, and Pat is sitting there.
Oh, that's what's up.
With 2 ice bags wrapped around his knees. And this is in 85 this is in 86 after his rookie year. And what stunned me was him sitting down, his knee, and I'm standing up. His knees were up to here on me and I was standing up. So Pat had to change his game from college to the pros because his knees were pretty bad early on in his season. Then he had knee surgery and he wasn't the same player with the power moves and the drop steps, and he changed his game. Pat did not shoot in college. Go look at his stats. Pat was not a jump shooter in college. He turned himself into a jump shooter in the pros. And I think that he had to do that as a result of his physical limitations.
Yeah, and that's the sign of a great player. There's been a few players who physically were banged up and had to change their game and just become shooters. That happens to a lot of players, actually. I feel like Jason Kidd learned to shoot later in his career as well.
Michael Redd.
Mm-hmm.
I coached Michael Redd at Ohio State. Michael Redd barely shot 32% from 3 at Ohio State. And our head coach at the time, didn't tell him not to shoot. He didn't discourage him from shooting threes. The way he would work Michael psychologically was, Michael, you're so good at slashing to the basket. You're so good at getting into the paint. And he kept driving that point home, and that was his way of getting him to stop shooting threes because he wasn't a good three-point shooter in college. And then look at what he turned into when he got into the NBA.
Yeah, sniper. Shout out to Mike.
Sniper.
Yeah. Hold on. We got this score working. Thank you for that, Sean Shepard.
I got to keep it moving.
Yeah, man, got to keep it moving. You allow me to kind of concentrate and do some troubleshooting. So salute to the chat. We got my guy Picks for Timmy in the Discord. So I'm gonna bring him in. He's been holding a lot of venom for weeks, and your arch nemesis Lee isn't even here. You know what I'm saying?
We're here. We're here to hear it.
Yeah, we're here to hear it. Shout out to Picks for Timmy. You are now live on the KOT show, Timmy. You're now live on the KOT show.
What's good, man? What's good, Jay Ellis, man? What's good, Sean, man? Salute, yo.
Salute.
Shout out to you fellas for being on the stream late, man. And during the holiday break here. Happy holidays to everybody on the stream as well. Salute to my guy Lee Escobedo, who had to see this live with family. So yeah. I'm sorry that happened, my guy.
Yeah.
You're still my dude. I got smoke for you when we get a win, though. Yeah, man. There's just a few things that I'm saying as far as trends that are developing with this team throughout this first 20 game span. There's good, there's bad, and I think it should be expected. One of the key things that I'm seeing, and we'll start with the defensive end. Cat is being asked to do some things as an anchor that he was not doing in Minnesota for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can expect his reads to be exactly immediately on par. Just or to develop consistency in a 20 game span. There have been some games where he's he's been on point. He's had some pretty good defensive games. But I really liked, as far as like an indicator of him improving, his commitment to rebounding has been excellent for us, because that was something that we couldn't afford to give up as a team, especially as, you know, because we play kind of a slower pace. We do need those rebounds on the defensive and offensive end. For Mikal, I think once Cat is able to read, that'll definitely help him as far as being able to navigate. One of the things that I see with Mikal has a 7'1" wingspan. So when he's coming around a pick, sometimes he can be behind a player and still work himself back into the play, or just with his wingspan, just have the availability to make a shot hard for somebody.
Facts.
And it's like, it looks kind of weird when you're watching it on TV, but, you know, if you continue to, like, you can go back to Phoenix State, which is probably his best defensive play. You know, this is kind of the ways that he's worked. And I'm sure when we get to the point where we're getting closer to playoff situations, these strengths and these weaknesses are the same things that our staff is taking into account. And one things that I like to point out are some of the reads that Tibbs was making during the regular season last year definitely changed by the time we got to the playoffs. Definitely changed. So I am looking forward to the growth of this team. It always sucks when we get spanked on ESPN, because then I got to watch all the BS come out. But it's all good. Just take it in stride, man. We're a growing team. I'm not too high or too low about it, but I am optimistic as hell for the future, yo. Look, let's go get it, man. Shout out KOT. Shout out KOT family. Now take it easy, man. Later.
All right, man. Salute my guy Picks for Timmy, yo.
Man, rate that call in the chat.
Yeah, Picks is always on point.
You have anything you want to say about his call? Because he made some good points that I want to comment on.
Yeah, so I don't know if you noticed that there's been there's kind of been like a running debate between me and Lee about Mikal Bridges' defense, because he goes in on Mikal Bridges' defense. My rebuttal is always he goes in on Mikal Bridges' pick and roll defense in particular.
Okay.
And my rebuttal is always, you need two people to play pick and roll defense.
Yeah.
So like, it doesn't matter how good you are fighting over screens. If the other guy isn't at least slowing the other guy down a little bit so you can work yourself into the play, you just look bad. And I never explained it to that level of detail, but that's what happened when you have one guy who can kind of play the good defense and the other guy who's just completely terrible at it. And so the thing that stood out to me was the Cat point of he hasn't done this consistently in years, because you know that's what Rudy Gobert over. They brought Rudy Gobert over because he wasn't really good at it. But now that Tibbs is here, I don't know. I battle with, do we just try to improve him little by little, or do we just say pull the plug and let somebody else like Precious or Mitch do it?
I was impressed with the call, because I rarely do I ever hear from a level-headed Knicks fan that understands that the way you start isn't the way you finish, and that it takes time to make a cake. You know, you put the ingredients in and then you have to put it in the oven and let it cook.
Yeah.
We haven't played 20 games yet. And when you talk about the team, if we're playing this way at game 50, then it's time to hit the panic button.
Yeah. Sean, so just to let you know, Sean, our KOT followers are mostly level-headed. We're like this weird section of YouTube.
Well,
but Lee along with us, right? Right, Picks, because Lee has improved since last season.
That's really good to know, because everybody thinks that, you know, for the most part, first game of the season, everybody's supposed to be in midseason form,
right?
And it doesn't work that way. And so whatever Cat is defensively, because he's on this team with this staff, I'd like to think that over time his defense is going to improve.
Right.
And you have said it we've seen signs of improvement from game 1 to game, what are we at, 18 now, right?
Yeah.
We've seen some signs, and it's going to take time. And in terms of Bridges, you could put him in a similar boat. He just got done being the number 1 option and not playing much defense, and now we're expecting him to be peak Phoenix Suns, Mikal Bridges, 18 games into the season. And what the caller was saying as well, in terms of him using his wingspan, he doesn't do it enough. He certainly doesn't do it enough as OG, but that's OG, that's in his DNA.
Yeah, and Mikal, he was playing switching defense when he was in Brooklyn, so he hasn't had to play the I'm coming off of screens type of
Fight
defense.
over the top.
Yeah, he hasn't been doing that for the last few seasons in Brooklyn. Because if you guys remember Brooklyn, we were talking about getting wings here. Brooklyn had all the freaking 6, 7, 8 foot wings, so they were just switching everything pretty much. So
why aren't we switching everything outside of Towns?
That's why I said in this program we should be switching more. I said in this episode. He's like, we're switching more than usual. Like, we should be switching more.
The only time I feel like when we switch, we're at a disadvantage sometimes is when Hart switches on to a bigger player. Because I'm not talking about Brunson. Let's take Brunson out of this completely. We have to do that. I'm just talking about this notion that we kind of have a 3-man wing stop. And I don't see that. Sometimes I see Josh Hart switched on to somebody and I'm like, this isn't going to end well. Not because he's not a good defender. It's just a size thing.
Right.
And then we've also seen flat out Bridges just not play well one-on-one defense after the switch. I mean, we have to call it like it is, you know.
That's been concerning. That's really been concerning.
It has been too, but you know what, man? There's a lot of talent in this league, and we're asking our wings to do something every single possession that is just not possible in this league because we've seen OG get cooked this year too.
No, for
He's
sure.
been cooked. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the NBA, and guys are going to be able to get past your guys, even your best defenders. What we don't have when that happens is that last line of defense. We don't have that right now. I fully expected at some point we're going to get closer to having that. I understand that iHeart's not walking through that door anytime soon. Mitch is still injured and Precious is still injured, but I feel like we're going to make some progress between now and the All-Star break. I have to believe that. I mean, Tibbs is a defensive coach.
Yeah, Tibbs is typically. Oh shoot, live will end in 4. Okay. Well, you know
What happened?
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a time limit on here. I guess we should try to end the show soon, but
What ended live?
the TikTok live pretty much is ending soon.
It shouldn't. Oh, no. You have to go to TikTok because it's asking you, like, are you still here type of thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you go to TikTok and be like, yeah, I'm still here. I don't want you to cut me off. You can keep going.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I see it now. All right, cool. Learning on the fly, guys.
See, that's what your boy is here for, bro.
Learning on the fly.
That's what I'm here for. That's what, because I ran into that myself.
I was like, what is that? Okay.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought too.
Talk you off the ledge.
But yeah, I lost my whole train of thought when that happened. All right. What were you talking about again? We talking about Mikal Bridges. We was talking about offensive players in this.
We were talking. Yeah. The last thing that I said was when our perimeter wing defenders are getting beat, what we don't have right now is that last line of defense.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And you were about to say something in response to that.
Got you. Yeah, that last line of defense, and that might be the missing piece. Like I'm saying. I feel like Precious or Mitch. I feel like Precious or Mitch could help out for sure. It could be Precious or Mitch because Precious he's definitely really good at weak side defending. He can also guard centers at times in the pinch. Like we've seen him do it versus Joel Embiid. We even seen him do it versus. I remember the Knicks were playing the Bulls, and what's the Bulls center name again?
I don't know, man. I'll keep it real. I don't pay all that much attention to other teams, and certainly not the Bulls center. White dude,
The white
right?
dude who shoots threes but can also post that was on that was on the Orlando Magic. I
Yeah.
can name all his accolades and
Vucevic?
Vucevic,
Vucevic?
Vucevic, Vucevic was killing us all game, and then Precious came in and shut him down. Right, Vucevic was killing us in the post, and Precious was on there. His 6'8" self said, "Not me, sir," and slow him down. So
I just feel like Precious coming back. Whenever we had swarming defense and our defense was in frenzy mode last year, he was typically on the court for that. And just his energy and getting hyped and being all over the court with his arms and causing loose balls, that's missing from another big.
yeah,
You know, that's what I feel is missing right now. And I think that just him coming back, I'm not looking at him as a savior, but I feel like just him coming back is going to improve our defense
yeah,
by
yeah.
a couple of points a game.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
I'm looking at Landry Shamet as the savior. I was trying to keep a straight face. I was trying.
How does the chat feel about Landry Shamet coming back? How do you all feel about that, man? What are your thoughts on Landry Shamet? Do you think he's going to help this team when he comes back? Do you think he's coming back? That's what
From what Ian Begley said, it seems like he's implying that the Knicks will bring him back, and they're going to convert Matt Ryan to a two-way once he's back. We need, hey, scoring off the bench is needed. We were one of the worst scoring benches in the league, so adding a career 40% three-point shooter to the bench is not going to hurt us, I don't think. And I was kind of surprised at how good defensively he was during preseason. Hopefully that carries over, and he fits right back in once he gets here. I hope. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Well, we had this conversation the last time that we were working together, and you asked me the question. You asked me about Precious, and I see Nostalgic Nick says he would start Precious, and I've dreamed about that a little bit. I mean, we've talked about this consistently. When will Tibbs at least try to play another big with Towns? And he has been completely 100% resistant to doing that with Huckporty and Sims, like completely resistant to it.
Yeah, I think the spacing is the main issue there. How Porty and Sims don't even pretend. I mean, especially Sims, but they don't even shoot like a little outside. They don't shoot no 15-footers or anything. So I feel like, and that kind of just completely almost takes away why Towns is here, to kind of give Jalen Brunson more spacing. Precious has been hitting shots in preseason. It kind of sucks that he got injured because, you know, when you're learning a new skill, you get injured, you get out of flow. Now, are you going to be able to hit shots during the season, especially when you're coming back? So that might factor into things. But the way Precious was going, it seemed like it could have gave us some room because he was starting to hit some shots in the mid-range and the corner threes, and he could have gave us more defense. And so I'm looking forward to that. Also, one thing too, I always felt like Precious was going to be here to be traded, but now that he's got injured, I'm not even sure I'm not even sure if it makes sense.
We need him.
Yeah, we need him. We need him. But when you force a guy to to take out your no trade clause, because the no trade clause is supposed to be implemented when you get a 1-year deal. They told him to take it out, and he took it out. So all signals were going to, we're trading you during the trade deadline in the offseason. So I expected them to be going in the offseason, but now I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
Yeah, plans change on the fly when you look at what you have. And it's just interesting to me to think about what's going through the front office's mind right now after 17, 18 games. What do they feel that we need? Obviously, it's defense, but what are their thoughts on trying to address that? Is it in-house with who we have? And I mean, who would you even think about trading for
It would be scoring off the bench, I would think. It would be like a scoring wing, I would think.
Okay. I can buy that, but scoring hasn't necessarily been our problem. So we're going to get more scoring, and this scoring wing off the bench, I'm assuming, doesn't play any defense either. It's like Bogdanovich. Like, how much defense did he
Right,
give
right.
up?
No, I feel it's because I mean, I hear you, but it's like defense has been our biggest problem for sure. So that's the reason why the front office might reverse course and say maybe we don't trade him because defense has been our biggest problem. But if we do trade him, their other thought can be, well, we have Mitch for our defense, and we'll use Precious to give us some trade for scoring off the bench. If that's only a hypothesis, I could be totally wrong. I'm just throwing out scenarios, but having a no trade clause makes it feel like it could have happened.
Fritz thinks that Precious will be traded. And Nostalgic Nick thinks that Mitch is staying. My only problem with Mitch is you want to invest in somebody who's always injured. I mean, Mitch is a problem.
I think Mitch is staying too. Ian kind of just, yes, Mitch's health is a problem, but you have to factor in a few things. You have to factor in health and you have to factor in money. But the one thing that Mitch has going for him right now is he doesn't cost a lot. And not only does it cost a lot, but when he's healthy, he's probably the only guys who can really slow down like these big offensive posting centers.
You say he doesn't cost a lot. He doesn't cost a lot from a fan standpoint. If I'm the owner, he's costing me plenty. I'm paying this fool to not play.
Yeah, no, he doesn't cost. He could not. What? Are you saying? Nah, as an owner, the guy costs. Mitch. First of all, Mitchell Robinson has an ascending contract. $13 million.
No, I got you.
Season is not a lot.
I agree with you 100%. I'm just putting myself in the place of the guy who's writing the checks. I keep writing a check.
Who, James? James, multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar.
I know he doesn't care. I know he doesn't care. He could just raise hot dog prices 5 cents and it doesn't matter, right? I'm just saying that if me having my normal frame of mind as a working man, I keep writing checks to this guy who doesn't even play for me. And I love Mitch.
Yeah.
I'm just saying long term, it'd be hard to really justify investing in somebody who hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. And that's the only problem that we have with Mitch.
No, I agree. I would agree. I would agree with you, but like there's a dollar amount too. If this was starting center money, if this was 25 million, I can see your point. I'm paying you such and such million. If you have a rising cap and you have a guy who takes up 5% of your cap, I don't know the percentage, but I know it's low because then it doesn't really matter. And then like the other thing is too is it's like because he's injured, what is his market is the other thing. So.
Is his contract expiring? Nostalgic Nick thinks his contract is expiring after this year. I don't know if that's the case. Is it?
I don't know. It might be either this year or next year.
Let me look. Let me look. 2025, he'll earn a base salary of $14.3 million. 2022 to 2025 free agent. So after
so he has this season, next season. Yeah. And he's making 12. He's pretty much making 13 million next year.
So does it expire after the 25 season or does it expire after this season?
It expires after the 25 season. He has 25. He has 2025, 2026 being his last season.
Okay.
And then,
yeah, I mean, he's cheap.
Yeah, so he's cheap. And then you'll start to hear rumors about extension talks and And you already know if he's not extended, then he'll probably be. If he's not extended next season, he'll probably be traded because that's been the trend.
I don't think that they're going to extend him.
I feel like the way the Knicks been playing and the way the defense has been run makes Mitch more attractive for the Knicks to keep.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that based on his health, I don't know if I would make another investment in him.
Especially if you're looking at what the Timberwolves done with Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, and then you look at the Knicks and go, wait, do we have a player similar to Rudy Gobert? Oh wait, yes we do, Mitchell Robinson. Like I think you look at that and go, we might have a cheaper Rudy Gobert here. Maybe we should keep him around to at least have stints of that for deep playoffs runs or for stopgaps when the defense just needs a boost. So I think the season's making him more valuable, actually.
I don't disagree with you. My only reservation about them re-signing him and why I think that they may not, it strictly has to do with health, not value and what he brings to the team when he's on the court. Nostalgic Nick said the only reason he said that is because Begley reported it. He said that Begley reported that they were going to trade Mitch.
Yeah, but Begley also, no, you're absolutely right. But Begley also reported 2 putbacks ago that the Knicks have looked at that differently because of the way the defense has been playing. So
I just said that the plans change.
Yeah,
they have to change.
The plans have changed. Changed. And Begley said, what's the phrasing that Begley said? I think the phrase was important decision makers in the Knicks front office see Mitch as valuable. I think that's the phrasing, something along those lines. So I don't think he's not getting moved in my opinion, at least not this season.
I just hope he stays healthy the same way I hope that OG stays healthy. I mean, every single game that we get through in OG Anunoby, I saw him grab for his leg tonight. I'm like, no, don't let this be the game.
Every time he falls, I get nervous though.
I saw him grab his leg and he was out of the picture and I didn't hear. I thank God I was waiting to hear the announcer say something like OG Anunoby is still down, right? I've got PTSD, bro.
Every time he falls, I stop breathing for at least 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, man.
Every single time. Salute to East Brew, man. Salute to East Brew. And salute to the chat, yo. Salute to the chat. Salute to East Brew. Salute to Nostalgia Nick. Salute to J Cruz. I think it's a good place to end it, man. We're gonna wrap it up. Got Thanksgiving tomorrow. I can get to my mom's in Brooklyn, see my fam. You got any last words, my brother?
Nah, man. I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, man. Thanks for tapping in, and let's let the Knicks get this next one.
That's for sure. Next game will be Friday, so I will not be in studio Friday, but I think I found like a workaround where you can have some of the bells and whistles. Won't have the Discord, but I found a way to bring the sound, the gunshots and stuff. So definitely be with us on Friday. Hopefully there will be no technical difficulties. I'll be trying out new stuff. All right, but we're gonna try.
Hey, hold on. I want to say this before we sign off. We got 29 people and we only got 9 likes. Can we get some likes before we sign off? Can we get some likes? Get some shares.
Wait, my bad. We had a super chat too. Hold on. I'm bugging. I am bugging. God, we had a super chat.
That's what I'm here for, man.
I'm bugging. JT Redick, yo. My guy. JT Redick, this is like KOT fan from rocking with me. Win, lose, or draw. They here in the chat. JT Redick sends a $9.99 super chat, says all 82. Very bad L tonight, but on to the next one. I see you. Shout out to my guy, JT. That's my trainer in my head. He's a wrestler, actually. Shout out to my guy, JT Redick. All right.
Yeah, man. Have a good one, man. Don't eat too much.
Word. Yo, who we playing Friday? Who we playing?
The Hornets.
I hope we beat them. Freaking LaMelo Ball. You already know our pick and roll defense is suspect, so that's gonna be a problem. For sure. Hopefully we pull it out though, because it's still the Hornets, but I need our pick and roll defense and McCall to step up on this one because he actually got cooked by LaMelo in preseason for sure. So hopefully he's learned something since then.
Hey, well, we handled them in the preseason. Let's see what it's like during the regular season. I mean, again, It's a game that we should win. I don't remember who said in the chat we have a favorable schedule. You can't look at it like that anymore because there's been too many teams who we should have beat up and we lost to. So it's not even a matter of favorable schedule. It's a matter of, are we going to play defense?
Yeah,
That's what it comes down to.
yeah, I hear you, but shoot, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. The schedule is looking like Hornets Friday, then the Pelicans on Sunday, then the Magic. The Magic is not sweet. Then we play the Hornets again, and then the Pistons, and then the Raptors. So I see what you're saying. I
mean, you got to look at. I'm only basing this on what we've seen thus far. We're playing teams we should beat. We're playing teams that are missing their best players, and we're losing to them. It's like there are no easy games. You got to show up and play.
Hold,
you know.
Hold on, Knicks Nation. Circle this date on your calendar. Yo, I might have to hit up Dexter for this game, yo. December 19th. Circle December that 19th. On your calendar.
What is that?
Knicks versus Timberwolves.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to be watching that game in the air. I'm flying to see my mom. I'll be in North Carolina, and I'm traveling on the 19th, so I'll be able to tap it in the air.
Yeah, definitely tapping in the air. You definitely need a good Wi-Fi hotspot or something. Knicks Timberwolves, December 19th. Are we at home or away? That game, that might be the hot ticket, brother.
I'm sure it will be, man. Hopefully, you know, the 19th, that's a little less than a month away. Hopefully we'll get some things ironed out defensively between now and then.
That's a fact. Shout out to my guy Dexter. He was talking about coming to do one of the shows in December. I think I'm gonna request.
Hey, bro, by the 19th, Precious should be back.
There was talking about Precious being back during his road trip. Oh, matter of fact, news on Precious Achiuwa.
You have some right now?
Now the putback, Ian reported that Precious Achiuwa has started contact.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I'm practicing. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he started practicing, so he's getting there. So I feel like he's about a week away at most. So we definitely should start to see Precious, and he should help for sure. And Josh Hart would be happy he doesn't have to play 40 minutes.
Yeah. We had 3 guys at 40 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
Mikal had 39, Hart had 42, I believe, and OG had 40.
Right. Yo, Dan, I want to ask you one more question too. I feel like I'm late now, but I know my answer. This is only the last question before I wrap it up.
Okay.
Donte DiVincenzo has been stinking it up with the Timberwolves. Stinking it up.
I saw that.
Yeah. The Knicks can't bring him back this season. But
okay,
would you be open to a Donte DiVincenzo reunion next season?
I think the better question is, would he be open to that?
Yeah.
Would he?
Listen, I heard him and Rick hugged it out. Rick said on the podcast, on his son's podcast, that he expects Donte at Thanksgiving dinner.
Hey, Donte doesn't like coming off the bench in Minnesota. He wasn't really down to come off the bench in New York. I think that's the question. Does he want to come back? Would I want him to come back? Yeah, why not?
Hell yeah. I'll say hell yeah for me.
Are you coming off the bench?
Listen.
Is he coming off the bench?
I think I feel like he will be coming off the bench, but I also feel like the days when Mikal is not as Mikal, I think Tibbs will be extremely comfortable throwing Donte in there, bombing threes like crazy.
Well, see, here's the thing, man. Based on what we've seen from Mikal so far, if hindsight's 2020, I would want him coming off the bench and Donte starting. I thought that we were going to be able to experience the fruits of him being tall and long and more talented offensively, have more of a bag than Dante. We haven't seen enough of that for us to say if Dante was on this team, Dante should start. But you know how Tibbs is. Tibbs wouldn't have started Dante.
No, he wouldn't have started Dante.
He would have gone his 20 games and seen what happened after the 20 games. But does Dante want to come back? If he wants to come back,
that's a fair question. Does Dante want to come back? It's a fair question.
If Dante wants to come back, I know Knicks Nation definitely wants him to come back.
Come home. Come home.
Yeah, me personally,
come home, son.
I would want him to come back. What I wouldn't want to happen is the second person in that trade to come back. I don't ever want to see ever again. Sorry.
I'm not slandering Julius Randle here. I will not. Even though
I didn't mention his name.
Hold on. That reminds me. I haven't done bruh picks in a while. For guys you don't know, for those you don't know, bruh picks are usually the worst plays of the game. Or my bruh pick for today was that Timberwolves game with 5 minutes left.
Oh,
Rudy Gobert calling for the ball.
Yeah.
Julius Randle handling the ball. Rudy had a guard sealed the guard on him under the basket.
Jay, look at me. This is what Julius did to him. He waved him off like that.
Waved him off. Gobert gets a 3-second call, turnover within the close game of 5 minutes left.
Bruh.
There's a lot of things happening there. There's a lot of things happening there. Because I've listened to some people's breakdown of that situation.
And then part two. Tell part two, though. There's a part two.
Part two. It's part two.
Yeah, man. Don't forget part two. Part two might be better than part one.
My bad. I get the part two of that was after the game.
End of the game.
Yeah, close to the end of the game. Gobert's in the post again. And Rudy and then Julius just tosses him. He just throws like a heater at him.
Fires the ball at him.
Here's the ball at him. Purposely made that joint extremely hard to catch and low for a simple man, and the ball goes out of bounds. He was obviously pissed. Woo.
And it was that moment that I got on Twitter because Wolves fans were going berserk over that. And all I typed was, he's your problem now. All I typed, he's your problem now.
Oh, man. And then Anthony Edwards is barking at Gobert.
Yeah, I thought that was displaced.
Well, there's blame to be fair. There is blame to go all around.
True.
For one, from what I've heard, the play was for Julius Randle ISO and to be cleared out. But I also can see how if I have a smaller guard on me and I'm
you're going to make the right play. You have to make the right play.
You pass the ball to Gobert.
But Wolves fans were like, there are two camps. Because most Wolves fans, well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of Wolves fans thought Rudy's not going to catch the ball anyway.
And that's the other part of it. That's the other part of it. The other part of it is it's a 5-point, it's a close game with 5 minutes left. Do I want Rudy Gobert having the ball and blowing a layup? It's the other part of it.
You know what, though? At the end of the day, for me, it was whatever drama took place, it was no shocker that Julius was involved in it. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. I'm saying, as a Knicks fans will zero in on the Julius part because of our experience, but I'm looking at everything. The Julius part, the Gobert part. There's been talks about how Gobert and Donovan Mitchell didn't get along because Gobert was asking for the ball a lot, and Donovan Mitchell was like, "I don't trust you."
I mean, we get it. It's been
Yeah.
well chronicled that Gobert is a goofball, man, and not very many people like him. But when it comes to I don't know if he's one of these cats who's not self-aware, but it's like Embiid made a comment last week with all his drama. He's like, I don't know why, but drama seems to follow me, bro.
You're the problem. Yeah.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about number 30. Look in the mirror.
And that's the other part of it too. If you want to be a leader, you can't
Not a leader.
You gotta lead. You can't the body language thing, the tossing the ball hard so it goes out of bounds thing, that stuff is just
He's never been a leader.
I mean, that's why we were glad when Jalen Brunson was here. When
Right,
when Jalen Brunson got here, everything seemed to fall into place.
But Jay Ellis, hasn't it occurred to you that over the years, that's one of the things that has been lacking on our team is that we did not have a leader.
Oh yeah, that's been apparent. That's been apparent.
We haven't had a leader in years.
Until Jalen Brunson got here. That's
right. Just your best player does not mean he's a leader. And I'm not going to go blasphemous. I'm not going to make the statement that I'm about to say, but we have not had a leader in a long, long time. And Jalen Brunson is the leader that we've been missing.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And I feel like the 76ers are going through that right now. Like Joel Embiid is like Maxey. I realized watching the playoffs last year that Maxey is the leader, not Joel Embiid.
He is, but you know what should also let you know that he's the leader? He called Embiid out.
Oh no, yeah, that just solidified that he was the leader. Right. I thought he was when he called Embiid out.
It's his team,
but I saw it last year.
It's his team. It's his team. Embiid might be the best talented player. Mm-hmm. He might be the best player, but that's Maxey's team because I don't think that there's anybody else that had the cachet, the gravitas, and what he's accomplished on the court to be able to call him out. Bruh, you late all the time.
Facts.
You're late all the time. How are we supposed to follow you?
Not.
He's not a leader. Embiid is not a leader.
I can tell by the way he doesn't take care of his body that he's not. But that's a whole nother story.
Hey, to your point, when the first thing that went through my mind when you said that was Shaq wasn't a leader.
Listen, we getting deep now.
Yeah. We trying to sign off, but I mean, you hit some touch points is like conversation worthy, bro.
I don't disagree with you, brother. I don't. Don't disagree. All right,
just sign off because we forgot that the chat is here. Like we just having two Knicks fans conversation.
Yeah.
1:00 in the morning for you, bro.
Yeah, but the thing about Randall is like before the trade is I'm gonna keep it 100. Before the trade happened, I do believe that it could have worked because we actually do have a solidified leader here. So I thought I thought it could work for sure, especially that span that happened, that 10-game span. The 15-game span where we was running off teams in January, I definitely feel like it could have worked here. But like the Hartenstein thing might have been the first domino to kind of mess up it really working. Like it, but yeah, that's just my thoughts really.
And if they did run it back with Julius, I wouldn't have blamed them because of what we did see. I'm just saying, I'm looking at picks for Timmy. He's a Randall fan. I am not. And I am not because of what he's able to accomplish on the basketball court. It's all up here with him. And he was not somebody that could be trusted. At the end of the day, big moment is Julius bringing the ball up and turning the ball over. How many times do you want to see the same thing over and over? I had seen enough.
Yeah, that's why we have Brunson here. I mean, that's why I was like, when Brunson was here, he was smiling. It was like
he was leading. He was leading. I'm not only am I the best player on this team, I lead by example.
Exactly.
I don't pal.
Worked out.
I'm not slapping laptops out of the hands of assistant coaches. I'm not thumbs downing the fan base. When he did this, I told you I've been watching this since 1977. You don't come back from this in New York.
I don't believe that. If we want to chip,
hang on. Even though he played better after this, long term, you just don't come back from that. And guess what? I'm right. He's gone. He's gone. You can say whatever you want, Jay Ellis. He's gone.
It doesn't. I don't think he's gone. He's not gone because he put a thumbs down.
I think
he's gone because Worldwide West had an eye for Cat when Cat was like 12.
But also, I mean, if you really believed in him that much as a player and as a person, he'd still be here.
If he was a pure shooter, if he was a headache, right? If he was a headache,
I say as a player and as a person, he would still be here. And he's not.
I feel like Cat was the guy regardless. I feel like the Knicks were going after Cat regardless. To be honest with you, I feel like the Knicks were looking. I feel like the Knicks were like, Jalen Brunson has this skill set where he has to be in the paint. Julius Randle, he's an okay shooter, but he's not the pure shooter that we need to expand the offense. I think then I also feel like the Hartenstein thing sealed the deal too. Where it's like, we need a center, we need to maximize Jalen Brunson, we need shooters. What's our best trade asset right now? Julius Randle. Let's get a shooter in here. I don't think it's as simple as he put his thumbs down, so now we're trading.
No. I'm not saying it's that simple. I'm just saying I've watched a lot of athletes come in and out of this city, and when I saw that, I said it. I'm like, he's not long for this town. And for whether my reasoning was right or wrong, the result was right. He gone.
I mean, my stance will always be, he can play, he can't be number one. And the Timberwolves right now,
Agreed.
Right now, they have a rising star in Anthony Edwards, who's learning to be a leader.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different situation than Jalen Brunson, who's also learning to be a leader, but he just seems like to have a natural talent for leading.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like the recipe for success to me worked because of Jalen Brunson. If Jalen Brunson wasn't here and Julius Randle was here, I think it would have been off the rails and he would have been going sooner.
I mean that's obvious.
Like you need the Jalen Brunson buffer for Julius Randle to work.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Everybody else seems to be living in harmony, and you got this one high maintenance cat who like at the end of the day, you're good, but you're not superstar transcendent good. Well, we're gonna put up with this.
That's the NBA though. The NBA is there's a lot of hotheads in the NBA. Like, let's be clear. Shaq was a jerk. Jordan was a jerk. Dennis Rodman was out freaking doing coke and having sex and drugs. Like that, there was a lot of people who just did whatever the hell they want. Draymond Green has kicked more people in the balls than freaking soccer players in Spain. Like, there's people who are hotheads in the NBA who aren't even superstars, but they're starring in their role and they're still with their team. So like, it's not all about that.
You just brought up three. Like, you just brought up. Take Draymond out of it, but you just brought up three upper tier level Hall of Famers, and you're mentioning them in the same breath as Julius Randle.
Because we're talking about temperament. You're talking about temperament and talent.
You put up with
not
Shaq.
Every star. Let's be straight. Let's be real here. A lot of stars come with attitude. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Hand in hand. A lot of the stars have attitudes to the point where when a star doesn't have an attitude, there is highlighted. Steph Curry is highlighted because he's a star that no one hasn't seen before, because this man gets along with everybody. He smiles, he shimmies, but then the biggest stars were assholes.
Hey, pick for Timmy. Take it out of your mouth, bro. Take it out of your mouth. We get it. You like Julius Randle, but you can take it out of your mouth.
No, he was nah, he's not doing that. Pick's been here. Nah, screw that. Julius Randle was an all-star multiple times. And he was an asshole. And guess who Julius Randle came under? Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was also an asshole.
Okay, but he's not anywhere in Kobe Bryant's.
I didn't say he was. What are we talking about? Are we talking about 10%? Okay, let's talk about Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was a player who was one of the best rebounders in the league, couldn't do anything else, but he was a role player. He came with antics. He came with theatrics. He came with drugs. He came with partying. But the Bulls kept him around to get championships.
And that's why. And the only problem with him was that he wasn't
But
an
that's
ass.
a problem. That's a problem.
Evidently, it wasn't much of a problem to Phil Jackson.
Draymond Green is still with the Golden State Warriors. Is he more talented than Julius Randle? No,
but for
have
that
he caused
team
more problems than Julius Randle?
And his role in that team, they got 4 rings. Like you're comparing.
That's not the point.
But with rings,
point
you're
is,
comparing him to people with rings.
No, I'm
Has he
comparing.
ever
No,
played
because
a
you're
part?
asking about talent level.
No.
You're asking about talent. You're saying talent level plus
big
temperament.
The whole picture.
You talking about temperament?
Picture.
You talking about temperament?
Right.
If you put Draymond Green on any other team, is he winning a ring?
Probably not.
Exactly. So like, it is. This is what I'm saying. It's the effectiveness.
But the fact that he has is and what he's contributed to the team is why he stays around. Julius ain't won nothing.
So what?
And I'm gonna go out on a limb. Julius won't win anything.
So most NBA players won't win anything. Most people in the NBA won't win anything.
We talk about Julius right now.
That doesn't mean anything.
We talk about
Jordan
Julius
didn't win anything. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. We're talking about talent and temperament.
Wasn't the best.
You're talking about talent and temperament. You talking about rings. Now you switching the conversation to rings. Before you talking about talent and temperament. That's why I say let's talk about Draymond Green. Draymond Green is not as talented a player as Julius Randle. His temperament has been way worse than Julius Randle.
But they won with him.
He's been on the same team for 10 years. So none of that stuff matters, really. It really doesn't.
And they won with him. They won with him.
Yes, they won with him.
But that makes all the difference.
No. You can't say they won with him and then say temperament matters. If your temperament is bad, you're gone. And then in the same breath say, well, they won with him, so it doesn't matter. Like, he should be gone if his temperament is that bad.
Well, they made the decision that the temperament juxtaposed with the talent was not worth it.
So then your point is mute. Then that means temperament doesn't matter. That's what I'm getting at. The temperament don't matter. The temperament really doesn't matter. It's the temp. Because there's talented people. The NBA puts up with talented people, even when their temperament is bad.
So you're trying to tell me that you don't think temperament matters at all?
No. I didn't say that. Not at all. I said temperament and talent. Like, if you're good enough, people will put up with your bullshit.
Okay, and what number team is this for Julius?
What are you talking about?
How many teams has he been on?
How many teams has Draymond Green been on?
Answer my question.
How many teams has Draymond Green been on?
I asked you a question first. You answer my question first, and then I'll answer your question. That's how communication works. How many teams has he been on now?
What? How many has he been on? 4?
Okay.
Lakers.
So who's
got traded for?
So who's putting up with him?
Knicks.
So who's putting up with him? He's on his fourth team.
Right.
Okay. So people obviously aren't putting up with him all that long if he's on his 4th team.
But you're pretending that they're not putting up with him.
I'm not pretending anything.
No, you're framing the conversation that they're not putting up with him because of his attitude. That's what you're saying.
No. I'm saying you led the conversation because of his attitude, and
you led the conversation by saying once he put his thumbs down, he was gone. That was your whole premise for your conversation, right?
I said at the time.
Right?
I said at the time.
Pause.
Hang on.
Pause. What? That was the whole premise of the conversation. Once you put his thumbs down, it was gone. He said you don't see any player recovering from that. That's why I came back with Draymond Green has kicked multiple people in the balls.
Okay,
he's been all over the place, and he's still with the same team. So
and
at
Julius
the end of the day, it's not just your temperament. That is my point.
Julius is not because you said Draymond is still with the same team. Yes. And I said, and Julius is not, because when he did this, coupled with the player that he is, you ain't good enough to last that long.
If Julius Randle put his thumbs down and shot 40% from three,
but he didn't.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking, it's not about the thumbs down. It's about the talent, is what I'm trying to tell you. I know he didn't. That's what I'm telling you. It's about both. The talent. The talent, both. Not the temperament.
It's
the talent. People put up with bad temperament when you have the talent.
And he doesn't have it. And that's why he's gone.
He doesn't have what?
He doesn't have enough talent to put up with his temperament, and that's why he's
gone. So now
you're
changing your argument.
It's always
you're changing your argument. Because before you said talent. Once he put the thumbs down, said once he puts the thumb down, he was gone.
Based on who he was.
I said the Knicks were going after a guy who can shoot to give Brunson more spacing. So now you're coming over to my side. Thank you. You're proving my point.
No,
you're proving my point.
No, I'm not proving your point.
You talked yourself into what I was trying to tell you the whole time.
Which was
it's the talent. If Julius Randle put his thumbs down and he shot 40% from three, it was a center, he would still be here because they'll be like, Jalen Brunson is the leader. He fits well with Jalen Brunson and he's only making $30,000 a year. He would still be here. That's my whole point.
It all depends on how his temperament and what he was doing was affecting that locker room without leaders.
But we have a leader.
Okay. We have a leader. And all I'm saying to you is at the end of the day, no matter how talented you think Julius Randle is, and no matter what you think his temperament is, whatever those two things meshed together wasn't enough to keep him here. And what I was saying, and maybe I didn't explain this well enough, the player that he was at the time that he did that thumbs down, when he did the thumbs down, I thought that was a death knell for him long-term. And like, he's not going to be on this team long-term because of that thumbs down and the player that he is. I didn't communicate that well enough, but to your point, it wasn't just the thumbs down. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me in terms of, okay, this is who this guy.
That's just say for you.
Okay, for me, and I'm saying at the end of the day, the end result was he's gone. And I knew he would be gone at some point. They weren't going to make a long-term investment into that guy with that head and the level of talent he ain't Shaq. So don't bring Shaq up. He ain't Shaq. He's not Jordan. And he's not even Rodman.
Dude, now you're going back in circles again. We already talked about this.
You brought that up.
Going back and why did I bring that up? Why did I bring Shaq up?
Because of his talent?
Yes. I'm talking about talent combined with temperament. That's the whole argument. Talent combined with temperament. Once again, people will put up with bad temperament if you have the talent. People will put up with bad temperament once. And I'll
ask you once again, who has put up with Julius Randle long term? Nobody, because he don't have that much.
All right, we're going in circles. Salute to the chat.
Hey, you all can defend Julius all you want.
I'm not defending Julius. I'm defending. I'm not defending Julius. I'm defending my point in talent and temperament. I'm not defending Julius. You're mad that Julius.
I'm saying
thumbs down 2 years ago. I'm talking about the fit with the Knicks. That's what I'm talking about. You're talking about Julius. I'm talking about the fit with the Knicks.
And I said to you, based on what we saw in January, if the Knicks had decided to run it back, I couldn't have been mad at them for running it back. And it's unfortunate that he got injured because I wanted to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see that. Could we somehow come out of nowhere and win a championship with him being who he is, with all of his flaws and the talent that he does have? I felt like that was our best shot. Once he got injured, it was like,
yeah, I feel like that team with Hartenstein and Mitch, I think we would have had a shot. Like, and I feel like another year of all those guys together, we would have even been even stronger.
I agree with you, but where I'm coming from is if we didn't have that, we had that window and it closed, and it's just being a Knicks fan and
It's a what if
whatever
team. It's
can
gonna be
go
a what
wrong,
if team for the rest of our life.
whatever can go wrong will go wrong, and you know that play against Miami was
Yeah.
it was just a freak play. But I'm saying to you, I didn't see long term it working with him because of this, not because of what he brought to the team. I just don't think that he has it up here long term, and he's showing it in Minnesota.
Yeah. Listen, Picks for Timmy can attest to this, and probably Jay Cruz as well, because Jay Cruz has seen every single episode. When that happened, I was out on Julius.
When what happened?
The thumbs down stuff.
See, I was out on him before that.
Yeah. I was out on that whole season. I was like, what's happening? What's happening? And then once that happened, I was out. For sure. The only reason why I thought it could work was because we actually had a real leader here. And then I was like, you know what?
I never argued
we
with you.
might have the right mix to make this work. So
And I've never argued with you. I've never argued with you on that. I agree with you once we got a leader. But before we had that leader, when you talk about poor temperament and you talk about somebody who isn't playing defense and you talk about somebody who's firing the ball after a win, you're firing the ball down the court and storming off the court like we lost, and you got young players. It was a bad look, and he was not good for that locker room being the best player.
right.
And if you notice, nobody called him out the way Maxey called Embiid out, because there was no budding superstar like Embiid to do that.
Right, but then
one of those players should have done that.
Right, and I was all there for all that, and I was also there last year when everything was clicking, and then you see Ian Begley talk about how good the locker room is. You know what I'm saying?
Because of Brunson and that Villanova, it's like
exactly. So I'm like, hey,
you're gonna get on board with this.
If this is the buffer we need for all this to work, and we still get to have some of that talent, but also have him calm, was wrong. That's what I.
But hang on. Let me point this out to you, because I don't want you to forget. There were moments when Brunson was on that team and Julius had static up in Quickly's face. This was before the trade, and I'm like, yo, man, what is he doing? What is he doing?
Yeah.
It never ended with him. It was always something with him. He's just an emotionally volatile person, and you can't have your leader be that way unless you're just
right. Which is why he's
gone.
No, he wasn't the leader at that point. I mean, at that point, the leader was Jalen. At that point, it was clear Jalen Brunson is the leader.
But his behavior didn't completely change just because Brunson was there.
No, it didn't completely change. It is not going to completely change. It's always going to be there. But just like Draymond Green's behavior never completely changed. He's still kicking people in the balls and he won championships. When you have other people who can steer a ship, you can work with volatile people and have it work. But you just need you need the right people in place for that to happen.
You know what's interesting now that you brought that up, and you correct me if I'm wrong for what I'm about to say. The only person in Golden State that has ever really called Draymond out publicly is the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Curry hasn't.
That doesn't speak to what's happening behind the scenes. Happening behind the scenes.
We don't, but I'll say it again. The only person that we've seen call out Draymond publicly has not been one of his teammates. It's been the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So who's the leader in that locker room?
I mean, how many championships do they have to say that he's not a leader?
I got you. I got you. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. It's just a question. I'm curious about that.
All I have to say is they have championships, so I can't really question that.
Yeah, me too.
So right? What are we asking?
I just asked the question out of curiosity because typically the locker room polices itself. That's how locker rooms work. And I've never heard anybody call him out other than the coach. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And I'm saying, there's been plenty. There's people who are good in the locker room, bad in the locker room. There's people who work with volatile people, and they've won championships. You just have to find the right mix. Like hell, sometimes you might need a volatile person to rouse shit up when things go wrong. Like sometimes you need a little bit of that sometimes, but you still have to have a system, and you have to have people in place
structure.
to check
structure.
that. You have to have
A culture.
Yeah, you have to have the culture to check that. So that's why I wasn't that's why I wasn't bugging after a while. I was bugging at one point, but after a while I stopped bugging because we actually have a structure.
Well, it's interesting. Did you ever see the podcast where, I don't know who Theo Pinson was talking about, but they were talking about Tibbs and his rules and defense, and you don't get no minutes if you don't play defense. And then Theo says, unless you're Julius Randle. And they both started laughing. And I know it was difficult for them to be watching film, and over and over and over and over again, Julius is the person not playing defense and not being held accountable.
Oh yeah, that's why I was out on Tibbs for years too, because of that.
Bro, I'm right there with you, and I'm saying if you're trying to establish a culture, you have a coach who has enabled the guy to behave that way when you first got there, right? I can understand why Tibbs had an affection for Julius, because the first year that Tibbs got there, I want to say that was also the first year. Didn't Julius make the All-Star team? That was the COVID year where we were playing in front of empty arenas. So Tibbs got Coach of the Year. Am I correct? Did he get Coach? He got Coach of the Year the same year that Julius made the All-Star team with the Knicks, right?
Right.
But he was an enabler. He helped create that monster by allowing that behavior, not allowing Julius to be available to the media after some asinine thing that he did or said on the court. And it's like, if you're trying to build a culture, why are you building this Frankenstein while you're trying to build this culture?
Listen, you preaching to the choir, brother. I went on the putback and I talked about Tibbs and Julius' relationship, and I got shut down, but because I was criticizing Tibbs at that point.
Yeah, you were going against the company folks.
Yeah, I was like, and the funny part is I was actually pro Tibbs at the time, but I was just bringing up the time when I wasn't pro Tibbs. You know what I'm saying? I'll bring up the time that I wasn't pro Tibbs because I saw how he didn't hold Julius Randle accountable, at all. Yeah, at all. So yeah, I get it. And I got an inside source. I can't reveal who it is, but RJ could not stand Julius Randle. Yeah,
couldn't stand it.
I guess I don't know.
Regardless of how you feel, listen. Regardless of how you feel about RJ, this is a young player. Quickly's a young player. Obi's a young player, and they're watching. Like,
I feel you. I'm not even gonna deep dive into the. It's weird to. I don't know who your sources are. I don't know if they're correct or not.
No, I'm trying to tell you. As a matter of fact, RJ thought that Randall was costing him sponsorships, endorsements. That's how inside of a contact that I have. He thought that Julius was costing RJ endorsements.
Yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong, I'm just telling you how he felt. And here's the amazing thing about all those players I just mentioned. They're all gone. All of them.
Yeah. And this is gonna be the last time we talk about them. All right.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
We gonna end this. I got sleep. I got a thing to do. Thank you, Sean Shepard, for coming.
Hey, it was fun, man. It was fun. I like how you when you dig in. I'm down with it, man. And I hope we didn't lose the chat because
the chat's still here. I feel like more people came in. People like debates, so I feel like more people tuned in. I'm just tired as hell.
You deserve it. It's about to be 1:30, man. Happy Thanksgiving. This was fun, despite the fact that we lost. And let me know when you want to do it again.
All right, bet, yo. All right, man, yo. Shout out to the chat.
Salute Timmy. Salute Timmy.
Salute Timmy. I had your back, Timmy. I was gonna let him talk to you about that. I was gonna let him talk to you, Timmy.
Good times, bro.
Yeah, good time. Salute to the chat. Shout out to Picks. Shout out to Timmy. Shout out to Nostalgia Nick. Everybody rocking with the show. You already know what the deal is. We here after every game talking Knicks basketball. Almost every game. Sometimes stuff happens. But like 80 out of 82, we be here. All right. So, so definitely tune in. Subscribe if you're new. Super chats are welcome. Thank you for the super chat, JT. And yeah, we'll be here Friday. There will be no Discord because I'll be in my mama's house. But I'll be testing out new equipment. Hopefully everything goes smooth and we'll be able to stream on Friday after the game. So that's the show. Sean, let me know where you can find you, sir.
You can check me out on the Cops and Convicts YouTube channel. And I also have a pretty active Twitter account. It's _original_game changer. And you got me a game changer, Sean, on Twitter. But appreciate the opportunity, man. I hope the chat don't want me gone. At least I keep things a little spicy. You know what I'm saying?
The chat's cool. Chat. Yo, shout out to my guy George into the Knickverse, man.
Shout out George.
Yeah.
What's up? Salute
to you, man. You can find that chat. You can find us at the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick of Time Show on Instagram and Facebook as well. Also, we are now on TikTok. I did your Knicksverse thing, George. TikTok on the Knick of Time Show. All right. Shoot, you know what? Too, I might end up doing sometimes. Listen, I'm gonna actually put the TikTok link in YouTube. I'm gonna ask y'all to hop between TikTok and YouTube just to get the numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you gotta start. I'm following you.
Yeah, exactly. So next show, not next show, maybe the next show afterwards because it'll be easier because I'll be back home. I'll put a TikTok link in the chat. I'm gonna have y'all come over to TikTok and just hit a little comments, get people inspired, and hit back. You can go, or you can stay there. It's cool. You can jump back and forth between YouTube and TikTok. All right, so
what up?
That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. And hold on, make sure I'm gonna. As always,
happy holidays, everybody. Get that turkey in, man.
Yeah.
Give thanks.
Give thanks. And as always, you know the deal.
Shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.